Hi, and welcome to the Pink Movement podcast with your host, Christy Collier. Each episode, you'll hear from some awesome people in and around the breast cancer world, sharing their wisdom on all things health and well-being. You'll hear simple information, practical advice, and useful tips to help you stress less, move more, and feel better.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pink Movement podcast. My name's Christy Collier, and today I'm talking to Qigong teacher of over 30 years, Simon Blow. Now, I can hear what you're saying. What exactly is Qigong? Here's a quick snapshot. It's been described as a powerful healing system and a conscious practice where each person takes personal responsibility to balance and harmonize their vital energy. So it's kind of like Tai Chi, and a typical class would include some stretching, gentle movement, and meditation. But Simon will provide a much more in-depth definition of the art of Qigong, and he'll also share the many benefits it has, especially for those of us with a breast cancer diagnosis. Now, I've been fortunate enough to have done some Qigong with a dragon boating buddy of mine, and I found the connection to body, mind and spirit was both energizing and calming, which is an unusual combination, I know. It's really hard to describe. But Qigong is something every one of us can do, and I'd highly recommend giving it a go. But don't take my word for it. Listen up as Simon Blow tells us all about it. Simon Blow has been a professional Qigong teacher, a Laosha, since 1990, which means he has been spreading the benefits of meditation, peace and love for over 30 years. Simon has studied Qigong in China, attending international conferences, and is currently the Deputy Secretary of the World Academic Society of Medical Qigong. Simon leads regular Qigong classes in Sydney, including weekly classes for cancer patients at the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse. He also runs workshops, meditation retreats, and even Qigong tours to China for students' advanced training. Simon is the author of numerous books, DVDs, and meditation CDs about this ancient healing art. He is also a sought-after speaker and workshop presenter, working with many different groups, helping them to develop self-healing skills to manage their stress levels and improve their quality of life. Welcome, Simon, to the Pink Movement podcast, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. It's really welcome to join you and to have you to talk about the Qigong to people. Thank you.
Pleasure is all ours. And I'm going to start with the very, very obvious question that I think a lot of our listeners will want to know up front is, tell us exactly what Qigong is.
Well, Qigong is a term which describes the energy work, because Qi is a term we refer to as energy, life force energy, which flows through the network of meridians within the body. Like when we have acupuncture, we're stimulating a meridian point to stimulate the Qi, or having Chinese massage, or we do Qigong exercise, which also helps stimulate the Qi. So, and also the word Gong means training or work or mastery, like in the word Kung Fu, or the Americans call it Kung Fu. It means the time to get the skill in that. So really the word Qigong means energy work or energy training. So really there are thousands of different types of Qigong. There's martial art styles, there's soft healing styles, there's kind of Tai Chi styles, there's all many different styles, but they all kind of work with the Qi, helping cultivate our life force or our energy in our body.
Okay, so what, I suppose you mentioned there's lots of different types of Qigong. What type of Qigong would you predominantly teach?
Well, I'm a bit more of a specialist in what we call medical Qigong,
right,
which is Chinese medicine exercise. So the movements are purely done to stimulate the flow of the energy through the body. And these are the most ancient practices. Now, the practice of Qigong has a history of 5,000 years. It's got a documented history of 3,000 years. So books have been written in China, which used to be written on bamboo strips. In back 3,000 years, it was documenting Qigong exercise for different medical conditions. So it's a really ancient type of practice. So it's still used as it was back in ancient times as it is done today, because really a lot of our health conditions are still the same. It's just a matter of bringing balance back into our body and our mind to become like one, we say.
Okay. And so, to give us a bit of an example, what would a typical class include? Are we talking movements? Are we talking meditation?
That's a good question, because actually it's a combination of movement and meditation. So all the movements are done slow, smooth movements. So when you see people in the parks in China and a lot of places now doing slow, gentle movements some of them might be seen doing Tai Chi. But Tai Chi is one style of the Qigong, so there's all many different types. So generally the movements are always done slow and gentle. So in a class, we'd start with a warm-up preparation exercise where we'll calm the mind, prepare the body, do some gentle exercise to loosen up all the joints, stimulate our blood and qi circulation. Then we'll do some exercise working on the different meridian channels of the body, relating to the different elements. So, for instance, we can do an exercise for our spleen and our stomach, which relates to the digestive system, relating to the earth element. So we do some exercises for that, and then we can sit quietly for about 10 minutes afterwards, allowing the body to settle and the mind to settle and the qi to do its work. It's what we call the processing stage, because after the body stops moving, it comes to a complete stop by either standing or even better sitting down on a chair or a cushion for about 10 minutes, and the qi continues to flow. And this is where the healing will start to occur, because the qi has like an intelligence. It will seek out where it's either deficient or excess in parts of the body and to start to balance it naturally. So the trick is really to do nothing at this stage. You know, they do something similar in yoga when people just lie down at the end, just allowing things to settle. It's the same idea. Even when you're having acupuncture, once the needles are in you, you're sitting there lying on the table for about 15 minutes while it's taking place.
Yeah.
The idea is you need things settle. So you're learning meditation, sitting meditation as also as a dynamic and a static meditation together. So it's all got many benefits on like on a stress level as well as a energetic level together.
Sure. So there's a bit of movement, and then you've got a bit of stillness, a bit of meditation in there, allowing the qi, the energy to sort of settle in the body. Am I understanding that right?
That's right. It has to settle, and actually, first of all, you need to stimulate the body, because we get problems when there's blockages of qi. The qi is not flowing smoothly. So the meridian channels can get it blocked up, and actually they get heat can form within them. So it's quite unusual, because when you start doing these gentle, slow exercises or movements, you get quite warm. Because what's happening really is once you release the static qi in the body, the heat starts to come out. So you feel a bit of a warmness coming out from the body. So for this is where the healing and the benefits will occur, because we're putting the body back into balance by just relieving the stress and let the qi flow naturally through the body.
Okay. So it's relieving stress, it's creating balance back into body and mind as well?
That's correct. Because we burn up a lot of qi, excess qi, generally from thinking too much. The problem in our modern world is thinking too much.
Absolutely.
Having anxiety and a bit of stress, all those things is causing. So the first thing we need to do is just calm and relax your mind. And that's what we do the first part of the class. Probably the first 10 or 15 minutes is taking this aspect of just calming and relaxing with the breath and the awareness and doing some gentle relaxation movements. Then when we're in the relaxed state, then we start to work more with the channels. And so in a class, we'll teach it, say, in a medical Qigong exercise class, you'll be learning a bit more about the meridian channels of the body, where they flow and how they work and such like that, and how they would affect the different organs. Because as a Chinese medicine practice, we're trying to improve the organ function of the body by allowing more qi, which draws all the fluids and all the bloods into an organ, nurturing and also dispersing out the organ. So in time, it helps improve the organ function. So it improves the state of the whole body. The whole balance will come back in the state in time.
Right. That's very interesting. Now, when you talk about meridian channels, what are you meaning exactly when you refer to that?
Like a meridian channel is actually the channel where there are meridian points, acupuncture points on the body, which flow the qi. So say, for instance, we can look at, say, the liver channel, which flows from the feet up the legs into the liver. Okay? So there are points along that channel which with the acupuncture would stimulate, and also when we do the movements, the hands and the body would follow those pathways, allowing the qi to flow through the body, which helps draw all the nutrients and blood through the body.
Okay. And obviously our body is obviously full of these channels.
Yes, that's right. Like in Chinese medicine, we have 12 organ meridian channels in the body, and also we have another 8 channels. So really there's about 20 meridian channels within the body which associate to all the organ functions of the whole body.
Okay.
So when we're doing these exercises or these movements as such, we're doing movements which will stimulate those channels. So you feel like a warmness coming through the body as the qi opens and it connects with everything. It's very calming for your mind because it's like, in a way, we say it's like an active meditation. So the mind is focused exactly in the present moment doing what we're doing. So you're not thinking of anything, there's no visualization as such. You're just concentrating and fully on what you're doing at the time, and the movement's just slow and gentle. So it's got a very gentle and, nurturing feeling that comes from it.
Sure. Okay, well, I think that's sorry for so many questions there. I just wanted to really make sure we got a really good understanding of it, which I think we have there. Simon, how did you become involved in Qigong and I suppose the practice of it? Tell us a bit about your background in that space.
Yeah, well, I've been doing Qigong for 30 years now. My history is really, when I was 19, I just turned 19, I was involved in a very serious car accident. And I ended up spending 3 months in hospital. I had fractures it was actually a head-on collision, so I had fractures to both my feet, both my ankles, both my legs, all my shoulder, my arm, and had very bad head injuries.
Wow.
So I know it was very serious at the time.
Yeah.
And traumatic for me, but it was more traumatic, I think, for my friends and my family, because they had to kind of experience it with me. So, but after that experience, I'd spent a long time in the hospital system, another 3 years.
Wow.
Seeing physiotherapists and doctors and going back and forth, as we always do, which is all very good. But virtually they couldn't really do much more for me. So, but actually when I was in my early 20s, I started doing meditation because I really need to understand what was going on for me. I need to look at the aspects of why this happened to me and try to release and clear that. So I was exposed to meditation at an early age, so I started meditation groups, going to different classes and such in my early 20s. And through that, I got a bit more educated about my condition. I was always on a bit of a search to get better because I was okay, but I was always a bit of a shell. When you've had any traumatic injury, there's always a lot of, residue you have to look at. So I started investigating things, and I couldn't do yoga or all those type of things because it's a bit too strenuous for me. So I just found out that Tai Chi and Qigong was the best type of exercise for me.
Right.
So I started in my mid-20s, and by the time I really liked it and I could do it, and I could find the benefits, and I was getting stronger, and I was working as much as my emotional and spiritual state as much as my physical state. So I could feel all the benefits working. And so by the time I became 30, I became a teacher, became an instructor, and I became a full-time teacher then just after that, in my early 30s. So now it's been 25 years now as a full-time, or 30 years as a full-time professional teacher.
Wow.
So it just takes you to many different places. You meet many different people and really helping people in their own journey. Because I'm just really a guide as a teacher, just helping people find their own connection which they can master themselves. So I'm never going to heal anyone. I can show people techniques and ideas and ways of doing things which they can start to heal themselves and to look at ways of managing their own situation.
Yeah, it must be very rewarding to be able to do that.
Yeah, it is. I love it, because it's my life and it's what I do. And I work with many different types of groups of people and do a lot of instructor training programs now. And lot of groups to China. It's always very, very rewarding to go back to like where Tai Chi and Qigong was developed, and to go back there and actually start teaching people there. So it's always very rewarding to be able to give back to people.
Yeah. And I suppose from your history and your background about the impact it had on you personally, you are, obviously you've seen firsthand the benefits and what it can do for you.
Oh, that's right. Look, personally, I'm always quite healthy and fit, and I always quite like to be active, but I don't have many ailments from my accident. I've still got a bad knee, bad ankle, and all those type of things. I can never play basketball again, all those type of things. But I can still lead an active physical life and to enjoy the beauty of the life, because I think we're in this world to have fun and to enjoy ourselves.
Absolutely.
Lose our connection through our health, our physical health, our emotional health is not right. We lose that connection and we can't see the beauty in the world and beauty in other people. And so this is really the message that we have to get to people, that they can improve their life is to have more of a life and to share that life with other people.
Yeah, I think that's such a really simple but very important point, is that life is there to be enjoyed. And we have to do what we can for ourselves, don't we, so that we can enjoy our lives. And if that is, if you can still play basketball and run after a serious accident, or, we're talking about breast cancer shortly after a breast cancer diagnosis, then great. But often you can't, and it's about finding what you can do within your body. And obviously Qigong is, probably a gentler form of the physical side of things, from what I'm understanding from you, than any of those high intensity, exercise forms, but even the lower intensity, even a yoga and that sort of thing. I get the impression it's a much gentler form of movement on the body than those types of things.
That's right. See, because there's no competition. There's no competition. There's no special clothes or equipment you require. I just wear normal clothes all the time when we do the practice. So there's nothing that you have to invest in to do it. Because traditionally you see people in China or everywhere, people just get together and they just kind of practice together, because the group energy that you create together is very bonding and very strong. And it's very nurturing. So quite often it can bring up quite emotions to people. People get quite emotional with it and get good inspiration and good ideas. It's like bonding, being with a family in a way. We all have a common interest in to share and to move on together.
Yeah, it's really special. And I completely understand where you're coming from. I mentioned just before we started this recording, actually, I have a lady who I do dragon boating with, who's a breast cancer survivor also, who does Qigong and occasionally leads a small group of us before we get out on the water and before events. And it's very emotional, and it's warming, and you can feel the energy in the group, and you can feel I suppose I don't like to use the term energy too much, but you can feel the energy that it brings. You feel a connectedness with each other. It's a very unique feeling. Yeah,
that's right. No, it's a beautiful thing. So all of our senses get heightened a little bit, because once the qi flows through the body, because it stimulates all the blood and all the senses in the body, so all your senses get heightened a little bit. So it gets like a creative time, creative for our own healing, our spiritual progress, or any type of healing. So quite often it's always a good time, sometimes either have time for yourself or have time to be with friends to discuss things. There's lots of great ideas and things come out from here, because traditionally in China, all the great Qigong masters through history in China were the ones who developed the great leap forwards in medicine and art and science and things like this. Through their own intuitive practice, that they got more connections and connecting more with nature, and they could get more ideas, and the information then came through them. So it's a way of, it's like a prayer, or it's like a meditation. It's being with everyone, with life. So it's really quite amazing once you get involved with these type of things, or any type of meditative action. It's really fascinating.
It's powerful. It's powerful stuff in a way that's quite hard to describe.
That's right. So this is where it's good for health of people with breast cancer or any other cancer diagnosis. Because it's a bit hard when people are first of all going through the treatment. Because I know from my working at the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse, it's hard for people when they're under treatment. Because quite often they're just under treatment. And people quite often ask me, what should they be doing when they're doing treatment? I said, well, just have the treatment first, because that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because quite often that people, especially chemo and such like that, which is good, but it takes away their immune system. So after the treatment, that's when things like Qigong, meditation, yoga, all these type of things is very good, because it's going to start to rebuild the immune system slowly. And also it balances their mind and relieves the stress. And they're learning some stress management techniques which they can work with. So because we're all affected by stress, whatever it may be. So when we learn techniques which we can identify when we're out of balance, then bring the body back into balance, then we can start to enjoy ourselves a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those women that are going through breast cancer, your advice to them would be, for these types of practices, the Qigong, even the meditation and the yoga, do your treatment, finish your treatment, and then seek out these types of practices to help you. It's almost it's obviously rebuilding your body in all types of levels, your emotional, your spiritual, your physical, and, obviously then all the benefits that we've discussed here about Qigong will start to have an impact on these women.
Yeah, that's correct. But it depends on the individual, because I've still had many people come to my classes who are under treatment for cancer diagnosis, but they still come to classes. So it depends on the individual. Some people, they just feel that need to rest. Some people feel a bit more active and they want to be doing things. Depends on the individual, and it depends on the day, I'd say, If they're under treatment, they may need a few days off while they're having treatment, of course, before they feel their energy levels pick up. So it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
So you can't, everyone's a bit different, but it will always have benefits in the long term.
Yeah. I think one of the appealing things of this to women with a breast cancer diagnosis, and having spoken to lots of them now, is that, we're all told that it's really important to keep moving. There's obviously a lot of scientific research behind movement and exercise and the benefits it can bring. But for many, that thought of moving is very confronting, because they immediately think, I have to go out and start jogging again, or I have to go to the gym. But something like Qigong, which is gentle movement and gentle exercise, I feel is such an ideal thing for women with breast cancer who are either returning to exercise or even just starting to move again after they've been through breast cancer, because it is that much gentler form, but it's still movement and it's still, exercise.
That's correct. Now, I totally agree. I've done a lot of work over the years with the YWCA, the Encore program.
Yes.
A lot of work with all their training, their instructors, and for the last 15 years. And all this type of stuff, it all comes together, that bonding a group together, gentle exercise, and coming back to a normal life in a way, back to enjoying ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's obviously what we said, that's what life is all about. It's about enjoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Simon, for people that live in Sydney with a breast cancer diagnosis or any sort of cancer diagnosis, they can go along to the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse to participate in Qigong classes, and you do them there weekly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We have a Monday class at 3 o'clock and also a Wednesday class at 12:30. So we have those two classes there, and I do have a few other classes around Sydney. But also I found any types of Qigong or even Tai Chi classes would have benefit for people, Sometimes they're always trying to work out which is the best one. There's many different styles and practices, but they all seem to work. So there might be a class at the local community centre, maybe the U3A University might have something, all these type of things, but there might be something, because everyone who's teaching this type of thing is coming from a good heart space, and they just want to help people.
Yeah, which is lovely.
There's all benefit for people to do. There's all different types. It's like dance. There's many different types of dance, but everyone just likes to dance.
Yeah, that's right. And what would you say to somebody, Simon, who is a bit reluctant and who sort of thinks, I don't really know. I don't know if this is right for me. Just encourage them to come along and try it out?
That's right. You just have to try things. Sometimes you have to try things that you've never tried before, something a bit different. Because once you get there, you'll find out there's other people there, and everyone's there for different reasons, but everyone comes for a different reason. They're kind of coming for a common reason in a way. So people have to step outside themselves a little bit to discover something a bit new, but then after a while they say, I wish I came here 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Look, and as we know, going through a cancer diagnosis, life's too short. So I think if you wanted, you're going to just give it a go. If you like it, great. If you don't, then that's okay as well, but at least you've given it a go.
You have to give it a go. If it doesn't work, you've just given it a go anyway.
That's right.
Doing the Qigong classes we've made, they're only $15 a class. It's not like it's a big investment. It's just having lunch with a friend.
Yeah.
and you're meeting new friends.
Yeah.
New friends.
Exactly. And what about those people that are outside of Sydney? Where could they go to sort of look up where, perhaps where their local Qigong practitioner is?
Well, Qigong's a bit more of a specialist area, but as I said, there's many Tai Chi and Qigong classes around. But I'd advise there is a website. It's called the Qigong Institute.org. It's an American institute, but they do have a big database which have practitioners all around the world.
Okay.
A lot in Australia and all other places. And I'm involved with it. You'll see my name in there, of course. But I'm involved with these people, and it's very good because they have a lot of academic research and scientific research published on their website. So people saying, is it scientifically proven? There is a lot of research on it, of course. So you can go and look on there yourself and look at different articles and such like that.
Okay, so it'd be
videos and things like that.
Yeah, so a good place for people to start. And what I'll do is I'll put, for our listeners, I'm going to put links to all of this in the show notes. So I'll link to the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse and where you can find those classes, the Qigong Institute website. Yeah. I'll also pop a link, Simon, you've got your own website, which is simonblowqigong.com in there.
That's right.
And then Simon also has a couple of great little YouTube videos, what is Qigong Part 1 and Part 2. So I'm going to pop those links in there as well if people are interested to have a quick, they only go for a couple of minutes each, but they're really helpful, again, just to get another sort of overview of the whole Qigong practice. So I'll pop all of those in the show notes for everybody.
That's great. Yeah, because Qigong is a great practice because it's really an ancient wisdom which we still use for the modern world. So a lot of things haven't changed that much. Even though we've got a lot of new technology, but we're still part of this world.
Yeah.
So really the ancient wisdom is really the kind of, we should never let it go. We always should embrace it and learn from that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, Simon, thank you very much for joining me today. I've certainly learnt a lot, and I know our listeners will have as well. And I hope we've encouraged some people to get out there and give Qigong a go, and especially following a breast cancer diagnosis, to look at, improving their emotional and spiritual and physical being. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I hope that we can maybe talk to you again soon at a time later down the track.
Thank you. No, it's a great pleasure, and I really felt it's a great opportunity I have when something traumatic happens to you, that you have the opportunity to move through that and then to share the healing benefit to everyone. So I feel great fortunate to have this opportunity to talk to you now and to get the message to people.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure, Simon. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to the Pink Movement podcast. For episode notes, links and downloads, head to thepinkmovement.com.au. Like what you're hearing? Join our Facebook page, subscribe through iTunes, and while you're there, provide a quick review. Want to help out? You can support the ongoing production of this podcast by becoming a patron. Find all the details on the website. The Pink Movement podcast, helping you to stress less, move more, and feel better.